Aurora Brown sits in her bedroom, scrolling through her phone with a small secretive smile. The light from the window falls across her face, softening her features, but she feels a flutter of nervousness in her stomach. Her latest photos have just gone live on social media, a mix of candid moments and carefully posed shots. But she knows something no one else does. No one in her family has seen the prenup she signed weeks ago, a document that could change everything about the Brown family's future. For a moment, she breathes in quietly, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Some secrets are easier to hide than others, but when they come to light, the consequences can be explosive. Across the house, Kody is in his office, sorting through paperwork. His brow furrows as he reviews a set of documents Aurora inadvertently left on the counter. At first, he doesn't understand what he's looking at. Legal jargon, signatures, clauses. Then the words hit him. His heart tightens as he realizes the truth. Aurora has signed a prenup, one that affects inheritance, family trust funds, and potentially the financial security of the entire household. He sits back in his chair, gripping the edges, a cold anger starting to seep through. How could she do this without telling him? He thought he knew every move, every decision. When trust is broken in a family, even the smallest secret can feel like a betrayal of the heart. Downstairs, Christine is making breakfast, humming softly. She notices Kody's absence in the usual morning routine and glances up from her coffee mug as Mary walks into the kitchen. There's a subtle tension in the air that neither wants to address openly yet. Christine shrugs, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling that something big is about to happen. Aurora appears in the doorway, radiant as ever, laughing at a text on her phone. The contrast between her serene demeanor and the storm brewing behind the scenes could not be more striking. Sometimes, the calmest surface hides the deepest undercurrents. Kody finally steps out of his office, papers in hand, his face set in a tight line. He calls Aurora into the room, his voice low but firm. "We need to talk." The words feel heavier than the usual household disputes. They carry the weight of suspicion, fear, and hurt. Aurora follows him, her heart beating faster. She knows this day would come, the confrontation she has been delaying, and she braces herself. The tension between them is palpable, stretching across the room like an invisible wire. The moment before a confrontation is a test of nerves, a quiet before a storm. In the living room, the other wives watch from a distance, sensing the change in energy. Christine whispers to Janelle, "Something's off. You can feel it." Janelle nods slowly, her eyes narrowing, trying to gauge the situation without getting involved yet. Both women have learned the art of observation over the years, reading facial expressions, tone, and gestures that speak louder than words ever could. Mary, however, chooses to stay quiet, her mind racing through possibilities, wondering how deep the secret might go. In families, intuition often speaks louder than confession. Kody begins, his tone measured but tinged with frustration. "Aurora, I saw the prenup. Why didn't you tell me?" Aurora swallows, her voice calm but firm. "I wanted to protect myself and any future children. It wasn't meant to hurt anyone." The words hang in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Kody's eyes flash with disbelief and rising anger. Every fiber of him feels blindsided. How could Aurora make a decision of such magnitude without consulting him? When secrets intersect with family loyalty, even small choices can ignite immense conflict. Aurora continues, trying to explain her intentions. She gestures softly, hands trembling slightly. "I love this family, Kody, but I have to think about what could happen in the future. The prenup is a safety net, nothing more." Kody shakes his head, pacing the room. The calm cadence of his thoughts is shattered by the idea that someone he trusts so completely might have been plotting, quietly and deliberately, behind his back. The wives listen from the hallway, holding their breath, each imagining the worst-case scenario. Every hidden move carries a ripple effect, reaching places you never expected. Christine steps forward, unable to contain herself. "Kody, maybe we should all calm down. Aurora's not trying to hurt anyone." Her voice is soothing but firm, trying to inject reason into an already tense room. Janelle joins, nodding. We don't know the full story yet. Let's hear her out. Kody stops pacing for a moment, but the anger is still simmering, his jaw tight. Trust has been tested, and the breach feels personal. Aurora's eyes meet Kody's, pleading for understanding, but the air is thick with tension. In moments like this, even words of love struggle to bridge the gap of betrayal. The scene shifts briefly to Aurora's bedroom, where she takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Her hands clutch the edges of the dresser, and for a moment, she wonders if she made a mistake. But her resolve strengthens. She did what she believed was right, and now the truth will come out. Across the house, Kody sits alone for a few minutes, reviewing the prenup again. Each clause feels like a personal attack, yet he cannot ignore the logic behind it. The emotional whirlwind is only beginning. Every choice has consequences, and the most carefully kept secrets often emerge at the worst possible moment. Later, family dinner is supposed to be a routine gathering, but the tension is palpable. Kody arrives at the table, his movements stiff, eyes darting from wife to wife. Aurora sits across from him, her posture calm but wary. Christine passes a dish to Mary, who silently glances at Kody, noting every twitch and expression. Janelle sips her water, pretending not to notice the tight lines of worry around Kody's mouth. Conversation is forced, polite, superficial. The undercurrent of the prenup scandal hanging over everyone. Even the quietest dinners can be charged with unspoken truths. Kody finally speaks, breaking the fragile silence. I don't know how we're supposed to move forward with this, he says, voice low but trembling slightly with frustration. Aurora responds, choosing her words carefully. We move forward by being honest now. I'm telling you everything, Kody. That's the only way to fix this. The other wives exchange glances. The air feels electric, charged with emotion, and the promise of more revelations to come. When secrets are finally spoken aloud, nothing remains the same. A glance, a slight raising of voices, and Aurora excusing herself from the room. She walks down the hallway, pausing briefly outside her bedroom. Kody watches from the living room, chest heaving, struggling to process the betrayal. The wives remain at the table, a mixture of shock, concern, and uncertainty on their faces. The scene fades with Aurora stepping into her room, closing the door behind her, leaving Kody and the rest of the family in a swirl of tension and anticipation. Sometimes walking away is the beginning of a storm, not the end. Kody sits alone in the den. The prenup spread across the coffee table before him. His fingers drum nervously against the wood, each tap echoing the frustration and disbelief churning inside him. The document feels like a physical weight on his chest, pressing him down with questions he doesn't want to ask but cannot ignore. How long has Aurora planned this? Why didn't she tell him? The words blur on the page as his mind races through every memory of their last year together, replaying moments that now seem tainted by secrecy. When a secret like this comes to light, even the smallest memory can feel like a betrayal. Aurora approaches quietly, her footsteps soft on the carpet. She pauses by the doorway, taking in the sight of Kody hunched over the prenup. Her heart pounds as she searches his expression for a clue, some hint of whether he will understand or lash out. Kody, she says softly, her voice tentative but steady. I know you're upset. I need you to hear me. Kody doesn't look up, his jaw tight. Upset? Aurora, I'm beyond upset. I'm blindsided. Do you have any idea what this does to us? To the family? The words are sharp, slicing through the quiet of the room. Blindsided. That's the word he uses, and it's the one that cuts deepest. Aurora steps closer, hands clasped in front of her. I didn't do this to hurt anyone. I did it to protect myself, and any children we may have in the future. I wanted to ensure that no matter what happens, everyone is secure. Kody finally lifts his gaze, eyes flashing with anger. Protect yourself, or protect your own agenda? Do you realize what this looks like? His voice rises, the calm surface shattered. Aurora's eyes glisten with the first hint of tears, but she holds her ground. Sometimes defending the truth is a lonely battle, even when your intentions are pure. Meanwhile, Christine is in the kitchen peeling vegetables, but her mind is elsewhere. She watches Kody through the doorway, noting the tension in his posture and the way he clutches the papers. She exchanges a glance with Janelle, who has been silent but observant, sipping her tea and weighing every gesture. "Something's brewing," Christine murmurs. "You can feel it in the air." Janelle nods slowly, eyes narrowing. This isn't just a disagreement. This feels bigger, deeper. Mary stands by the fridge, pretending to grab a bottle of water, but her hands are shaking slightly. Her mind races with possibilities, imagining what the prenup could mean for each member of the family. When tension rises in a household, every glance and gesture becomes a clue, a warning signal. Back in the den, Kody rises suddenly, pacing in long, frustrated strides. "I trusted you, Aurora. I thought we shared everything. And now I find out there's a document that could change our future. Without my knowledge?" Aurora takes a shaky breath, trying to remain calm. "I thought I could protect us both. I wanted to make sure nothing could hurt the family if something unexpected happened. I didn't think it would be this hard to explain." Kody stops pacing, staring at her, the room electric with raw emotion. When words fail, silence speaks louder than accusations ever could. The wives, sensing the rising tension, decide to intervene. Christine enters the room cautiously. "Kody, maybe you should hear her out fully before we jump to conclusions." Janelle follows, adding, "We've all been surprised before. Let's try to understand her side." Kody runs a hand through his hair, frustration etched into every line of his face. "Understand? How can anyone understand hiding a legal agreement that could impact everything?" Aurora's voice trembles slightly as she responds, "Because I'm scared, Kody. Scared of losing you. Scared of making a mistake. Scared of what the future could bring. Fear has a way of driving decisions, but it also exposes vulnerabilities that can fracture relationships." Later that evening, the scene shifts to a quiet hallway where Christine and Janelle whisper privately. "Do you think she planned this all along?" Christine asks, voice low but urgent. Janelle shakes her head. "I don't know, but it's clear that something isn't right." Aurora isn't usually this secretive. Mary joins silently, listening, her own thoughts spiraling. She wonders if there are even more hidden details yet to be uncovered. The conversation is filled with tension, each word carrying the weight of speculation and judgment. In families, whispers often reveal truths that open confrontations cannot. Back in the den, Kody and Aurora continue their conversation, now more intense. Kody's hands are clenched into fists. "Do you realize what this means for the children? For the trust funds?" Aurora's eyes dart nervously. "I did consider that. I just didn't see another way." Her calm is slowly eroding under the pressure of his accusations. The room vibrates with emotional intensity as past grievances and small resentments resurface. When old wounds collide with new betrayals, emotions erupt like a storm you cannot control. The camera, or the narrative lens, shifts to Aurora, sitting alone in her bedroom later that night. She looks at the photos on her phone, trying to find reassurance in smiles that now feel hollow. Her hands rest on her stomach, the hidden reality of her pregnancy weighing on her like a secret she cannot fully share. "I did what I thought was best," she whispers to herself, though doubt lingers. Across the hall, Kody sits on the couch, staring at the prenup once more, replaying conversations in his mind, wondering how much more he doesn't know. Sometimes the heaviest burdens are carried silently, unseen by everyone else. The next morning, family breakfast is tense. Kody's anger has simmered, but is still present beneath the surface. He sits rigidly, barely touching his food, while Aurora tries to maintain a neutral composure. Christine carefully sets plates down, glancing at both of them, aware that any small spark could ignite a new argument. Janelle pretends to pour coffee casually, but keeps an eye on Kody's every movement. Mary sips her tea quietly, calculating how she can mediate without picking a side. The tension is palpable, a quiet electricity that everyone feels but no one fully addresses. The calm of routine can be deceptive when emotional storms are brewing beneath the surface. Mid-morning, Kody finally confronts Aurora again, this time in the living room. "I need to know everything," he demands, voice sharp but trembling slightly with emotion. "Was there ever any other reason for signing this prenup? Anything you haven't told me?" Aurora takes a deep breath, her voice steady but soft. "No, Kody. There's nothing else. I just wanted to protect myself and any children. That's all." Kody looks away, struggling to contain both anger and fear. The air is thick with unresolved tension, every second stretching uncomfortably long. When trust is broken, even reassurances feel fragile, like glass that could shatter at any moment. Later that evening, the wives gather in the sitting room to discuss the unfolding drama privately. Christine speaks first, her voice cautious. "We need to be careful how we handle this." Kody's reaction is intense, and Aurora clearly had her reasons. "But we can't ignore the secrecy," Janelle nods. "Agreed. But we also need to watch for alliances forming. Families split under pressure, and loyalties are tested." Mary adds softly, "The prenup might not be the only secret we'll have to deal with. We need to be prepared for anything." The conversation is hushed, but heavy with anticipation. Alliances and families are fragile, especially when secrets begin to surface. The day ends with Aurora retreating to her bedroom, exhausted and tense. She sits on the edge of her bed, staring at the ceiling, reflecting on what she has done and what is yet to come. Kody remains in the living room, silently reviewing the prenup one more time, each clause feeling like a personal affront. Outside the house, the sun sets, casting long shadows across the walls, mirroring the growing darkness of mistrust and anxiety inside. Even the brightest days can hide shadows that will soon come to light. Aurora opens a drawer, revealing additional paperwork related to the prenup, an envelope she had hoped Kody would never see. The camera lingers on her hands as she hesitates, contemplating whether to show him now or wait. Kody's voice is heard from the living room, calling her name. Frustrated and tense, the audience is left hanging. The next morning, the Brown family gathers in the living room, an unusual tension thick in the air. Aurora sits on the couch, hands folded tightly in her lap, her gaze fixed on the floor. Kody paces slowly in front of the window, his expression a mixture of disbelief, frustration, and raw emotion. Christine and Janelle exchange quiet glances, while Mary sits slightly apart, observing every subtle shift in the room's energy. The air feels charged, as though something is about to erupt. When a family is tested by secrets, the air itself seems heavier, suffocating, impossible to ignore. Kody finally stops pacing, turning sharply to face Aurora. "We need to do this properly," he says, voice low but firm. "We need to get everything out in the open." Aurora nods slightly, her throat tight, knowing exactly what he means. A private mediation session has been arranged, a controlled, courtroom-like setting designed to sort through disputes and settle legal and emotional matters. This is not a television courtroom. It is a family courtroom, but the stakes feel just as high. The most intimate conflicts often feel like trials, where every word carries the weight of judgment. Christine leans forward slightly. "Kody, we need to remember why we're here," she says softly. "This isn't about attacking Aurora. It's about understanding and moving forward." Janelle adds cautiously, "We need facts, not just emotions." Mary remains silent, though her fingers drum lightly against the arm of her chair, betraying her nervousness. Kody takes a deep breath, gripping the edge of the table, his mind racing through every angle, every potential betrayal. Even in families, formal spaces can feel like battlefields when secrets collide with emotion. Aurora rises, smoothing her hands over her skirt. "I want to explain everything," she begins, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "The prenup isn't about hurting anyone. I did it to protect myself and any future children. It was never meant to betray Kody or any of you." Her words hang in the air, fragile and charged, as the room seems to hold its collective breath. Kody's eyes narrow. "Protect yourself? Aurora, you could have just talked to me. We could have worked this out as a family." Instead, you went behind my back. When intentions clash with perception, the smallest misunderstandings can escalate into monumental conflicts.